There we go. We are now recording this meeting, so it's going to be available on our website after today. We all have encouraged you all to be muted, so if you could please keep your mics off during the meeting to avoid any technical difficulties, we'd appreciate that. We are definitely welcoming questions as the meeting goes on, and if you have them, please put them in the chat box, and our staff team will be monitoring things, and we can read them out during the portion called New Business and answer any questions that you might have at that point. So if you could keep in mind that the chat box is for questions only and should not be used for discussion or airing of grievances, and that disruptive comments will be moved offline. If you happen to have to leave and you want to come back, that's no problem. You can just click on that same link and you'll be able to get back into the meeting. I think that is probably about it. And we'll turn things back over to you, Nancy.
Great, thank you. If we can just move to the agenda, I just wanted to just review the agenda. We're going to approve the agenda for this meeting, and then go through our last agenda minutes, operating review, strategic review. So again, if you have any issues you want to bring up, let's leave it to the end in the new business, and then we can address a lot of these formalized issues up front, and then we can have some fun conversations at the end if everybody's okay with that. All right, and the agenda was in the email that was sent out to you earlier today as well. So we'll go to.
So, Chair, I'll move to approve the 2021 AGM agenda as presented.
Okay.
I, Lawrence Greaves, second that move.
Great.
Actually, sorry, can I jump in just for a sec? Because you guys are jumping ahead of things.
I know.
Sorry about that. We quickly just wanted to recognize all our wonderful board members who are so eager to do their role here today, which is awesome. So yeah, there we are on the next page.
They're excited about Wine Wednesday too. So our board, we've had a few new people, but there's a few people that will be leaving us as well. But Gabby has been at Score Pizza, has been a very vocal part, and I appreciate her as well as Nick Benninger, and really good spokespeople for the Uptown core. I mentioned to Neil in the past, and of course Melissa Durrell, who lives, breathes, and sleeps Uptown. Uptown Waterloo, and she is the vice chair and will be taking over for me, so you guys will be in great hands. Myself, Your Money Talks with Nancy Fox, your board chair, and I'm very sad to be leaving, but you'll see me Uptown as well. Ryan Good, he's obviously has been a great supporter. You've probably close to been 2 terms, Ryan, I think, as well. Lawrence has moved. He's no longer with Oldfield and Greaves. So he's not within the boundaries, are you, Lawrence?
I still own my building, so technically I'm still on the board, yeah.
But we still love you, and you're close to the end of your term as well. So we are going to be looking for a new lawyer. But we'll see you in the core too, because I see you around all the time too. Kristen Hammond and Andrea Harding from CG. So she is moving on. She has other commitments. So we're sad to see her go, but she's been such a great contributor as well. Michael Pelosi, he's a new member, and I've yet to take him out for coffee and get him up to speed. But I know he will be helpful. Rami has always been a great supporter. Christine Sainsbury from the city, she's always keeps us abreast. Dana Short, you're lovely. Thank you. And we always are happy to see you. Tracy, the best ED ever. I've been volunteering Tracy quite a bit throughout the community with some of her governance expertise and her communications to help out throughout the community. So I appreciate that. And Kirk Vines, Kirky from Beertown, thank you for being such an anchor in that square and those patios. The summer was awesome. Janet Walden, again, as our Sun Life, our anchor of Sun Life. Thank you for helping us out in that aspect. And Mark Whaley. I know with Mark and Melissa, they always sat beside each other at the board meetings, but you can't do that on Zoom. But that's great. I also want to introduce our staff, because it's been we've had a little bit of turmoil, or turnover, not turmoil. But we lost Natalie. People have moved on, and it's all been positive transitions for everyone, and it goes to speak to some of the guidance and coaching that Tracy has done. But Dawn Gilders, she has honestly stepped up, and she's changed and adapted and pivoted within her roles. So she's changed job titles, I think 3 times now, 2. But her creativity has obviously, especially through the pandemic, has been amazing. We are so lucky to have Diego join the team. His passion for Uptown and doing all the placemakings, it's unbelievable. And to have such passion about making a smaller community better is what he's done for that placemaking has been wonderful. So we're so blessed to have him on board. And then our newest member, Jane Barkley, and we haven't met in person yet, Jane, and I don't know you that well, but Tracy speaks very highly of you. So if you got Tracy's stamp of approval, obviously, I know you'll be a big asset to the team. So you guys have been wonderful, and you're fantastic to work with. And I know every board meeting, everybody says how great it is to have you guys as our feet on the ground and making things happen. And especially over the last 2 years. And I was just saying, like, it's been in my lifetime, Lawrence and Melissa, and well, Mark, like, we've gone through our first strategic plan was all about LRT and what do you want to see in the core. Then we had King Street or Herb Street. Yeah, King Street north of Herb, and all that turmoil. And we had those lights, the arts we've had, and then we get a pandemic. Like, the fact that we have such a thriving business in downtown core, and our vacancy rates are at the minimum. Like, I think it says a lot about our community and people supporting our community endlessly. And I just saw, I was at Thai Sun on Tuesday, and they still have their support local sign, the Uptown blue support local sign out. So, and I think that really says a lot about our community. So thank you, everyone. That's the introductions. Can we move forward? Okay, approval of the agenda, which Melissa and Lawrence jumped in there, so we're good. I can ask if there's any further discussion, or all in favor. And okay, great. And I know everybody took the time to read last year's AGM minutes, which was done in a record 1 hour. Do we have a motion, Janet?
I move to approve the 2020 AGM minutes dated, or sorry, 2021 AGM minutes dated February 17th, 2021.
Great. And seconder?
I, Rami Saeed, second this motion.
Great, thanks, Rami. And the audited financials, approval of the audited financial report. The financials were in there, and we will go through that. Right, Tracy?
The audited financial statements, we won't be there on our website for transparency, but they
The
still
budget.
they still need to be approved. But yes, we are going to take them through the 2022 budget. that's been
Okay.
approved by board.
Kristen,
I, Kristen Hammond, move to approve the 2020 auditor's report as presented.
thanks, Kristen and Isabel.
Yeah, my name. Oh no, I should change that. No problem.
No,
That's
this,
cute. She has a new baby for anybody that doesn't know that.
Yeah. yeah, thanks, Kristen. And Ryan?
I second that emotion.
Awesome. Any further discussions? I would have to say our budget conversations have been shortened significantly in the last 2 years, only because they've been so much more mainstream. So those audited financials make it a lot easier too. So thanks, Tracy, for your work with our bookkeeper on that as well. So any further discussions on that? All in favor? Yep. All right. Any declarations related to conflicts of interest to today's agendas? Anybody? Okay. Seeing none, we will continue. The omnibus motion. May I have a motion to ratify the past actions of the Board of Directors for the year ending December 31st, 2021?
That's you, Dana.
I don't know if I would want.
You're on mute, Dana.
I don't see her. Did she drop off by mistake?
She's on mute. You're
Oh,
on
there
mute,
she
Dana,
is.
still.
I'm gonna ask to unmute you. Can you give a thumbs up, Dana? There's her motion.
And then Kristen, did you want to second it?
That'll be me. I, Janet Weldon, second the motion.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any further discussion? Nope. Okay, that'll be carried. All right. So the strategic update, I'll run through that with everyone. Given what the Uptown has transpired, we felt that it was time to revisit the strategic plan. And I know Tracy's always giving us an update on the operating plan, which she kind of is built around that strategic plan. And I think the main thing that has been updated within that is adding the diversity as a focus, and also adding, what does a pandemic, how does that affect the Uptown businesses and what we've lost and gained, and how do you move forward and pivot quickly from that? Businesses have continued to weather the storm, and we still, again, have seen some businesses come and go, but I think on the overall picture, the transformation of the businesses that have stayed and weathered the storm, and some of the new comings, and especially even just some of the new fronts on the buildings too. People have taken an opportunity with some of the funding and CIP to update some of their decor in their buildings, which look fantastic in the core. And the BIA has also adapted with the membership and recently updated our strategic plan, which is building a bold brand, which you'll see we did change that up a bit, and we will be looking at doing banners over the next year as well. Given the construction, the pandemic, we didn't pursue that, but marketing team is looking at doing that as we've done in the past. The growth in the core and advocating for a clear voice. And again, I said in the beginning, we've always had a strong relationship with the city, but I think after going through this pandemic, Tracy's not afraid to go back to the city and say, hey, can you give us more money? Or this is what we're looking at, or hey, can we do this pilot project? You know, what we went through in the meetings with working with the city and closing down Princess Street from King Street there. It was definitely a concerted effort, making the building the communications between the businesses as well as the city, and we made it happen. And especially our staff, it was unbelievable. And I think, you know, Dominion Lane is another testament to that relationship between the cities. So hopefully we'll have more of that placemaking, and I know that's a passion of Diego's, to help make that happen for next year. So very excited to see what's to come. Work to keep our members informed about constantly changing information coming from the government. And we did have a lot of emails going out. Dawn took the lead, and she was helping to fill out a lot of those grant forms and figuring out what you needed. And I think that was huge, because you know, it's gobbledygook when you're on the websites trying to do that, and everything's done online. You can't talk to a human anymore. So Dawn was a big advocate on that, and she was so helpful with a lot of the businesses in that. Advocated to the government officials, business groups, and community leaders for more support, resources, and funds to help small businesses. And we did talk about that in the beginning as well. We took a detailed review of our policies and updated them accordingly. And that goes back to the governance. And I have to say, Tracy has really brought a very strong position of rebuilding our governance. And I had no idea how important those policies are.
In a meeting. Oh shit. Yeah, it's all good.
Hi, Al.
I put him on mute.
So I feel that going forward, you know, we have a strong basis, and we just updated it with new pandemic rules and what that looks like. So I think we have a strong base for the board to move forward at any given time. And it's nice to know that our governance is under control, and we revisit it quite often. We stood up in the media to share the story of small businesses and support deepened relationships. And I think the other piece there is Tracy's kind of one of those go-to people that CTV seems to like to interview a lot. Also the radio, about the core, and that's great. As you know, any kind of video that we can get on CTV in the Uptown is fantastic. But I think we do have a lot of good news stories, and you know, most of our business owners, when they're interviewed, they're quite positive about what's going on. So I think that is nice to see, and no one wants to go into a store and have a negative experience. So everybody feels the same. It's not like Waterloo was the only town, city that went through a pandemic. So everybody right across Canada is feeling the shortage with employees, and the changing of the regulations with the restaurants, and having to do a QR code and how to adapt. So I think, you know, it's good that we have that strong relationship with the business owners, that they can call us and ask for help on some of those regulatory issues. Our board continues to provide strong leadership and guidance. We meet regularly over the past year, so we would stay abreast of issues arising from our businesses. Now we have those meetings are virtual, and I hope that, you know, going forward we will my goal is to work on that in March, to have an in-person meeting and really get connected again. And I think all boards are going through that. And you know, the small talk that we would have had this evening around a glass of wine before we started the AGM, there's a lot of issues or discussions that are very valuable that happens in that half-hour time frame before a meeting. So I appreciate having the one-on-ones. when we go out to the restaurants and stores and talk about what's going on. And I know our staff is working on a game plan on getting reconnected with our business owners as well. Moving forward, we will examine how Uptown has changed because of the pandemic, and we will actively contribute to its recovery and evolution. And I think, that Come Back Up Fund is testament to that effort and that part of our strategic plan, and as well as all the placemaking. And let's get those festivals back up. The Uptown Food Crawl, and we have a lot of great events that I look forward to getting back out there. And I think people are ready because we can do it safely. And with the new Uptown Waterloo Park, the renovations that have been going on in the park, they look fantastic. And it's very exciting. This summer should be great for the square and just the walkable Uptown Waterloo. So we will continue to be here for our membership, and looking forward to having a few more networking events this year, and seeing how 2022 can grow. And let's not move backwards anymore. Let's only move forward, and thank the businesses for their resilience and their ability to pivot during these last, I would say, probably 6 to 8 years. It's been a lot of change, and it's fantastic that we've weathered the storm. So let's have some good times in 2022. Over to you, Tracy.
Thanks, Nancy. I've been with the BIA now, it'll be 4 years at the end of April, and we've never had a non-chaotic time since I've been here. There's always been something that has been challenging for businesses, but it is just I'm grateful to be here. And I know the team, I think, feels the same way, that, we are appreciative of the fact that we get to help so many great people and great businesses each and every day. So if we could just go to the next slide. Thank you. So this is a great infographic that Jane created for us. It gives you a good snapshot of 2021 and what it looked like for us. So you kind of said it, Nancy, that the last year, it's been another challenging time for our Uptown family, and that's really an understatement, like you said. On the heels of construction, COVID-19's had a significant and long-term effect on many of our businesses. But what I say, and I say this in the media all the time too, is that Uptown is strong and resilient. Businesses have adapted and changed the way that they operate and engage with their customers. With pandemic restrictions added and lifted regularly in 2021, they navigated the waters with hope and perseverance, and the BIA was there to help provide advice, ideas, coaching, funding, advocacy, and importantly, an ear to listen. Over the past year, we welcomed 33 new businesses to our fold, and we still have more on the way. We also had a business retention rate of 95%. So for these reasons and more, we can and should celebrate. But we do need to remember that for various different reasons, including the pandemic, 11 businesses closed, and most, if not all, who are left continue to be in a state of flux and uncertainty. But there's hope. Events look different, continue to look different in 2021 as well. And while we weren't able to host many of our flagship festivals, we were able to introduce the new open air night market, which we had 7,000 people visit us over the summertime. And in the fall, in partnership with the mayor and his office, we had 1,700 people attend the very first Mayor's Oktoberfest market, which we acronym it, call it the MOM, don't we? Mayor Jaworski, the MOM. Anyways, we expanded our art walk to Hughes Lane, or from Hughes Lane to Dominion Lane, and we initiated several new innovative media and advertising campaigns like our trails, maps, and walks, in an effort to bring people to Uptown in a self-guided and safe manner. Our social media stats have grown significantly this year, as you can see right there in that infographic, and that is largely in part due to Miss Jane Barkley, who joined our team only in November. She just has done an amazing job. It's incredible. So if we can go to the next slide, just with regards to advocacy, we continue to advocate on behalf of our membership. We participated in letter writing campaigns with our other Ontario BIA colleagues. We sent out emails and we met with many government and elected officials and community leaders to share how the pandemic has continued to affect our uptown businesses. With help from the City of Waterloo, we increased our funding amounts for the Come Back Up Fund that Nancy just mentioned. So this past year, we provided $150,000 in financial assistance to over 70 businesses. In total, the BIA funded almost $185,000 through our various programs, including Come Back Up, Hand in Hand, our co-op advertising, Spotlight Waterloo, and Uptown Music. We continued with our targeted communications to the memberships, highlighting important information coming from the government, as well as other related resources and opportunities. We continue to sit on advocacy committees, including two under the Business and Economic Support Team Waterloo Region, also Explore Waterloo Region, the board, and the Advocacy Committee for the Ontario BIA Association. Importantly, we continue to connect individually with our businesses to provide advice, connections, and support. We could go to the next slide, please. We hosted many new social media and advertising campaigns showcasing uptown businesses. We created new placemaking activities like Nancy has highlighted already. And those included, sorry, I'm also letting people in at the same time, so my apologies, I'm trying to do so many things. Those placemaking activities included Meet Me on Princess, the Dominion Lane Art Walk, the Fuse Interactive Lighting, as well as trails, maps, and walks, encouraging people to take self-guided tours and explore all that Uptown has to offer. We continued regular walkabouts as part of our partnership with the Police and Working Center, checking in with marginalized individuals and also with businesses and owners and security personnel around any safety concerns they might have. The proactive graffiti project that we've been participating with the city over the last couple of years continued to be successful with almost 1,223 tags removed throughout the year. And we continued with our outdoor beautification programming throughout the year. And Uptown has, I swear, never looked better when it comes to all the floral work that the City of Waterloo folks are so great at doing and growing and keeping alive. I would be killing them, so yay for them. Moving forward, we'll work with our membership as they work to recover while staying true to what's important, and that's thriving businesses and economy, healthy lifestyle options, beautiful and useful outdoor spaces, innovative learning opportunities, caring neighborhoods, impactful arts and civic engagement, and sustainable development. And I know, Nancy, you mentioned the staff, and I want to personally take a moment to thank them because, you know, as you mentioned, we did have some staffing changes this past year, but I can't begin to tell you how excited I am with this team and how stellar they are. And I just want to thank each one of you, Diego, Dawn, Jane, for your incredible contributions to our organizations and our businesses and your unwavering support of Uptown. So with that, I'll turn it back over to you, Nancy, to talk about the levy. And you're on mute.
This is one of my favorite topics. I'd put me on mute too if I was talking about levy. Once again, there's no changes have been made to the boundary. It's funny when you look at some of the changes in businesses and where they're moving to. I think this is something we definitely need to look at down the road. And I just actually met with the Record and discussed an article about the Statistics Canada wanting to make downtowns much bigger and the core much bigger on a map. And Kitchener would be definitely, we would definitely be amalgamated closer to them for sure within that map. However, I think it's key because you know, businesses are not just in the core, and it's nice to be able to offer support for some of those businesses outside of that. And you know, that's something we might want to look at. But right now, as it stands, we decided not to increase the levy, and we're not going to change the map at this time. But I think, honestly, again, down the road, as we recover a little bit further from the pandemic, and we have a year without construction, we'll take a look at and revisit that as well. Tracy, did you want to discuss the budget?
Yes, thanks, Nancy. So just a few things that we wanted to highlight through our budget for 2022. It's a balanced budget once again. Revenues are down due to less funding from the City of Waterloo with regards to the Come Back Up funding. We are still getting, you can still see that we are still getting some funding from the City of Waterloo, just not as much. So it's down a little bit from last year. When you look at administration, that's up a little bit due to some new hires that we just mentioned, and we also benefits went up like a lot, like 8%. So there's an increase there with admin. And then when you look at our marketing budget and our beautification budget, it kind of evens out. It's a little, our marketing budget is a bit less than last year, but our beautification is up a bit. So yeah, that would be kind of high level. You can see that our budget overall is less than it was last year. That's a lot in part because of the Come Back Up funding, and we're not doing the Come Back Up fund this year. Our focus is really going to be on placemaking that Nancy's mentioned a number of times, and like making Uptown a destination. So that's where our focus is. So we can bring people to Uptown, and then they're going to explore and spend time, and we'll work with businesses to help promote what they're doing. So we have an annual report that we will send out a link to. It'll be on our website, and check our socials and stuff too. We'll send that out to everybody who was able to attend today. And kudos to Jane for your design and your work on that. I really appreciate that as well. And yeah, I think that is it for me with the budget. So I don't know if there's been anything in the chat. I haven't seen anything. Don, Diego, you don't see anything either. So I think we'll just go back to the agenda, and you can move on to the next new business, I guess, Nancy. And we'll see if anybody has any questions.
Does anyone have any questions or have any issues they'd like to bring to the forefront, or just have a comment? Mark?
Yeah, I was really surprised at the graffiti program. Imagine over 1,200 tags in the last year. That's incredible. I can't think of one time that I was in the Uptown that I ever saw any glaring graffiti. So it must be an incredible job. Tracy, do you see that's going to need some more money in the future?
It definitely has been a great project to work on, and I'm so grateful that the city came to share the cost of that program with us. If we were to be paying like one-offs for that, it would be like I think way more than we're paying with the 20,000 right now. So it's been very beneficial to Uptown, as you've noted, and yeah, it'll be a program that we would continue.
Lawrence?
Oh, Nancy, you made mention of the record interview of you and the changing of boundaries. I just wondered, is there some indication that the two cities are going to meet? Is that like, how far north is Kitchener going to encroach on our fair city?
No, I was just kidding. You'll have to read the article tomorrow. It's very exciting. No, it's so my house at Avondale and Union is still not in Waterloo. I'll just leave it at that. But it goes right out to University and then up to Herbert. So it's more expanding it to the north versus to the south.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think right now it's a recommendation from Statistics Canada. Nancy had mentioned that. So I'm sure we're a little ways away from expanding boundaries at this point, but I definitely think it sets the scene for us to start talking. And we've talked about expanding the Uptown boundary. And so this is just, I think, another additional piece that would help us with that conversation.
And also there is the opinion too, which, our former council did a lot of work. Thank you, people, at bringing the density into the core. And when you look at the difference between how much growth there is in Uptown Waterloo area versus downtown Kitchener, I know that's where Mark's cottage is, but Uptown Waterloo, we have quite, I think our growth rate population wise is 30% versus the core. So I think the vision that we had with the City of Waterloo Council was definitely on the right track, and that has put us in the position where we are today. And when you, as time goes on, the LRT, you see it's being used, and it's still bringing lots of people from Kitchener to Waterloo and vice versa. So it's I just had a friend of mine coming to meet me uptown for lunch, and she lives out by the mall, and she jumped on the LRT. And it's not just for the young people, it's for everyone. And I think there's just so much going on in the core. You can find live music anywhere. There's, retail, we have it all. And I think people are starting to realize that, or they've known that for a long time. They're just starting to get back out again, and we'll see more of that. But that was more the gist of it. But I did want to give a shout out to the counselors, because you guys laid the groundwork, and I know that was a huge vision, and it was a big fight along the way. But I think we're on the right track for sure. Any other comments or questions?
It's a quiet group today. I was just going through and looking. I see Tim working really hard at Champa Kitchen.
Well,
Rami has a question.
Rami.
Sorry, I was just gonna ask, with the 50th anniversary coming up, is there anything as businesses that we should be preparing for, or kind of thinking about in terms of being able to partner with the BIA?
Absolutely. The answer is yes. So we made the announcement on the actual anniversary date, but we have a number of campaigns that we're going to be running throughout the year that will be going out to businesses and asking for them to participate in. One that I'm super excited about is a video series that we want to do of interviewing businesses. And there are a few other things that we're in the works with doing some arts and culture pieces. So yes, the answer is yes, Rami, you're going to be excited about them. Thank you.
excellent. Okay, well, if there's no more comments or concerns or new business, it looks like I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
I can do that. Nick Benninger, move for a motion to adjourn.
Excellent. Well,
Well,
thank you.
that was a quick one.
I know. Well, thank you everyone for your time. Yeah, we beat the time last year. Thank you everyone for your time today. And as always, we're open, our doors are open for questions and concerns. So always looking for a conversation, and looking forward to seeing the board in March, and have a good night. Thank you.
When can we do a Beer Town Wednesday?
Last Kirky.
Right after the Champa Kitchen Tuesday.
Champa Kitchen Tuesday sounds good.
Yeah.
Hope
That's
to see
great.
you guys in person soon.
Yeah.
Tim, are you with Champa Kitchen? Sorry, I missed that.
Yes.
Yes, I am.
I just had takeout like a week ago. It was amazing.
Yeah, it's a great menu.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Thank you.
I can't take any credit for the food. It's all my wife, but I will take all the credit. So thank you very much.
I've been telling people about it. I'll be back.
Awesome. Awesome. We look forward to seeing you. Thanks, guys.
I can attest that Tim is a great wine pourer. All right. I think that's it.
Okay, later.
Everybody have a great evening. Thanks for joining us and spending time with us today.
Do we want to stop the recording now?
If I end the meeting, I think it doesn't let me do it right now. Oh wait, yes it does.